What's going on, U.S. history people? This is Mr. Norris.
And Mr. Lawrence.
And we are going to talk to you today about the American system. Mr. Lawrence, I am so excited. I've waited all year to talk about this. This is my favorite time period. This whole video is going to be about my boy, Henry Clay.
It's happening. This is real.
I hope you guys are. No, this isn't. I hope you are prepared for this. I hope you're as excited as I am. We'll figure out who the heck is this guy and what is his deal with this American system. What exactly is it? Did I mention we're talking about Henry Clay?
Yeah,
I did? Okay.
Let's do it.
All right. I just want to make sure everyone's on board with this. All right. So we need to talk about the unifying American economy, the American system. And that was a goal of Henry Clay. He wanted to unify the American economy. So let's talk about the American system. It is a legislative program. And you know it's legislative because, sadly, Henry Clay was never president, so it couldn't be executive. And he was a member of the House and Senate. Mr. Lawrence, what branch is the House and Senate?
That is part of the legislative branch.
It is the legislative branch. So we got my boy Henry Clay as the founder of the American system. Did you know he was the youngest Speaker of the House ever?
I did not know that.
And also, here's another fact for you. To the best of my knowledge, he's the only person to be a senator under the age of 30, which is actually unconstitutional because how old do you have to be, Mr. Lawrence?
30?
Yes, 30. And he served at age 29 and a half. But everybody was just so in awe of like how awesome he was, nobody cared.
That is a really cool fact. Yeah. It's a good histo fact.
It's a good histo fact. Here's a histo fact. Did you know that Maine is closer to Africa than Florida?
You just blew my mind.
Wow. I feel like I could do a video on that.
That's good.
All right, maybe someday. All right, the American system contained three major ideas, and there is Henry Clay. Doesn't he look like he belongs in a Dr. Seuss movie, like from Whoville or something like that?
A little bit. He looks like a guy who would really be good at compromise.
Yeah. Oh. You are just, thank you, Mr. Lawrence. All right, so three ideas. One, he wanted to establish a new system of transportation. Mr. Lawrence, do you mind if I hog this and talk about the three parts here?
It's your video.
Okay. Number two, he wanted to establish a protective tariff, which would raise the rates of foreign goods and encourage U.S. manufacturing. Look at this. This guy's like an American here. He was encouraging American buying. And, ooh, that looks like a Bank of the United States. The original one, yes, he wanted to help create a second bank, or Bank of the United States, and promote the financial system. So there are three parts, and we will teach you a mnemonic device in class to remember all three parts.
Awesome.
All right, do you want to talk about the transportation revolution, Mr. Lawrence?
Absolutely. As part of this American system, Mr. Norris, you already mentioned the issue of these new forms of transportation. And as the United States is going through the Industrial Revolution, they're also going through a transportation revolution. So it states new technologies also stimulated the development of transportation systems to connect northern markets to western and southern farmland. So it's trying to, again, incorporate all the regions to try and make as much cash as possible for Americans. And to do this, you need transportation to get your goods to market. So one example we have, you see a nice picture here. What is that picture of?
It's a road.
That's a road. Who would have thought of a road as being a new form of technology, but having high quality roads that can really sustain a lot of traffic was something relatively new and helped to really unite large areas across the United States.
Do you know whose idea this was to create a whole bunch of roads?
Henry Clay.
Henry Clay, yes, because he is from Kentucky, and he would travel all the way to Washington, D.C. It would take him 4 weeks to go from Kentucky to Washington, D.C., so he wanted new roads to be built.
Nice. All right, so we see it's referred to as a national road system, a national thruway and turnpike system. Next, we have, what do you think that is?
Railroad. Looks like a conductor there.
That's right, trains.
Choo-choo!
Trains started to come on the scene, as we see, and this is also going to be a push to really modernize the United States. So, in the open westward expansion with the eventual creation of the Transcontinental Railroad.
Choo-choo! Every time you say that, I'm going to go choo-choo.
Nice. Transcontinental Railroad.
Choo-choo!
All right, next we have something close to us as Western New Yorkers, the Erie Canal. So canals, also part of this American system and this transportation revolution. The Erie Canal specifically will help to connect the Atlantic Ocean to the Great Lakes and hope to spur fantastic cities like Buffalo, New York.
Absolutely. And did you know that the average daily journey on the canal was 15 miles?
That's right. There's a song about that.
Oh, my God. We should totally listen to it.
Yeah.
It's Bruce Springsteen, right?
Is it?
He's got a mule. I know he sings it. He sings about having a mule. Her name is Sal. 15 miles on the Erie Canal. She's a good old worker. She's a good old pal. 15 miles on the Erie Canal. I think we should play that in class.
Let's do it.
I could sing it if you want.
In class?
No, I take that back. Sorry, bro.
All right, so just some basic things again as we have up here. We'll throw all these up for you, and just some things to be aware of when we look at things like the steam engine. Guys like Robert Fulton using powered ships, barges, and also railway cars, which will be important to bring goods to market.
Canals would make waterways transportation faster, and farmers were able to ship goods further at a faster rate and actually at a lower price because so many goods could be transported on canals. There were very heavy loads that could be carried early on in the beginning by mules, later on by barges.
Next, we have railroads, which were by far the fastest but also the most expensive method of moving goods and people across the continent, but could almost carry anything. So once we figure out a way to have this transportation be much more cost efficient and effective, it will be a game changer in the United States.
What type of transportation was that you just mentioned?
Railroad.
Choo choo. So then we have roads, and the national roads. These were a cheap method of transportation. And you saw a lot of people using the horse and buggy system in the beginning, where the horses would pull buggies and people would travel. Again, as I mentioned, it took weeks to travel from Kentucky to DC. Now in a car, you can do that in probably about 10 or 11 hours. But back then, it would take about 4 weeks too. Okay, for your video number 2 response, we're actually not going to have you fill out a response section. Please, at the bottom, you'll notice at the bottom of the Transportation Revolution page, it says which 19th century change in transportation was most important to the growth of the U.S. and explain why.
Ladies and gentlemen, make Phil Notes proud. Make sure you do it in 3 sentences or more.
Did you know that Phil Notes used to ride on the railroad? Choo choo! Thanks for watching. Have a good day.